Welcome back to Girl Talk for our Lines on Design segment. Yes, I am here with our friend Paul. You've met him before. We're going to see you again right now. Monster Tree Service, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
I have to say, I have had a ball getting to know you, your crew, your family. It is amazing how much more safe I feel in my own yard right now. For the few people who don't know, we actually had Monster Tree come out and do an assessment, and then they did a lot of work. So let's take this few minutes to talk a little bit about what an assessment looks like if we want Monster Tree to come out.
Great, yeah. So the priority here was they had these trees, there's so many of them and so large and mature, they had not been pruned in so long that it was all about safety this first go around. So we took a lot of really long, 30-foot long, 25-foot long branches that were really overextending over the house. We took them back half the distance to other branches so it looked natural, or we took them back to the trunk, and of course we got all the big deadwood out.
So we've got Dennis standing here too. Let's talk a little bit, if we can, take the opportunity to really talk about Monster Tree.
Great.
What do you do? And I can tell you what I know now. I know now that I am in queue for a few times a year getting someone to come and take a look at safety issues, really.
That's right, yeah. So ideally we build a relationship because your arborists should get to know your trees. And so typically the big trees like this, they need to be pruned aggressively every 4 years, or it can be lighter pruned every 2 years. And it's really just safety pruning and reducing them to keep them the right size for their environment. And then any disease or insects, of course, we treat for that as well.
Well, what's really fun is, of course, I meet Paul and Dennis, and we're doing segments for Girl Talk, and then lo and behold, you actually came to the house, and you're like,
Yeah.
So we had you come in, and honestly, it's been a real tremendous gift for us to be able to take the opportunity to have you come in and really make my home much safer. I mean, you were talking about pruning the trees. We've lived here since 1958, and I'm not sure they've ever really been pruned. But you've pointed out a lot of other things that we can pay attention to.
Absolutely.
With hurricane seasons and just the environment that we're in, what do you recommend people do?
Well, you are fortunate because you have all live oaks, which are unbelievably the strongest trees around ever. Had they not been live oaks, you would have seen a lot more real damage, and then you probably would have had an arborist out. So for hurricane season and everything else, you should have an arborist come out, assess the types of trees you have, if they're safe, and if not, what's required to make them safe.
And it's also about the health and wellness of the tree, because your job, you just didn't come and go whack, 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 whack. I mean, there was a method to the madness. It's really a scientific process.
Well, you can transmit disease from one tree to another. A lot of fungal diseases down here because of the moisture.
Oh,
so we sterilize our tools. We spray them with Lysol or a bleach solution so we don't bring it to other people's properties. And the cuts have to be right so that it heals properly. The size of the cuts is important, and where you prune it back to so that it heals and remains natural flow.
Oh my gosh. Do you come out and kind of do a walkthrough or assessments with people so they have an idea of what the process will actually look like?
Yeah, that's why I say building a relationship. So once we walk and we talk and you're comfortable with your arborist, then we do the pruning work, and then at no charge, stop back out every year and just do a quick walk around with or without the customer and just say, hey, this is what I saw, this is what we should talk about, whether it's this year or next year, and just build that relationship, because they're living organisms. They're always growing, changing, cracking. You know, there's all these storms and stuff, so they really should be looked at regularly.
Oh my gosh, it's really, every time I talk to you and I talk to Dennis, I feel like I learn so much, and you don't know what you don't know, right? And so I think I've enjoyed where I've lived. I mean, I can pay attention to the marsh, and I know a little bit about that, but once I've learned about just the growth and how everything is alive here, it's given me a lot of insight. And I think if you have an opportunity to have Monster Tree come out and just do an assessment, it is well worth the investment. We're gonna take a quick break.
Great.
We're gonna come back, and we wanna talk a little bit, if we can, about the actual job here and the difference that it made.
Yeah,
Stay with us, we'll be right back here on Girl Talk.